All right. So this is a continuation of a uh, kind of stream that got stopped prematurely because YouTube is bad. Um, so we actually made a lot of progress with the design um, since last week. Let me just close the door real quick. So essentially, in the last stream before YouTube bugged out and then crashed, technical difficulties again. Um, it was just kind of not going well, to be honest, because the slat system, the mechanism, wasn't working too great. Um, and so we spent like a decent amount of time trying to debug that in the last stream. And we were ultimately unsuccessful in doing so, but we kind of just went along with it mostly. Um, you'll also notice that in this stream, we kind of start off at a very different position than where we were last week. And that's because I started on some surface modeling here. Um, so I'm just gonna kind of get right into it. There's no, in the last stream there was a lot of debugging. We didn't really get anywhere for the first like 30-40 minutes, but here, I want to try and show you what I've done so far and then catch up. So we started surface modeling. We started with the back portion here. We defined the panel to be this width right here, and then we tailored it to this shape. The end here needs a little bit of work, the nozzle area, but we will finish that probably next time. Um, I'm probably gonna do a quick stream. It's not gonna be very long because I was already over 2 hours into the stream when YouTube decided to crap out and crash. And so we lost all of that uh, information and I guess, content. But it is what it is, right? We can't redo this project um, because of YouTube's incompetence. But we really just started surface modeling here, and it's looking great so far. This technique is carried over from the rapid prototype that I made. The only problem with that is this F16, the nose is supposed to be round here, and this technique yields a very sharp edge. So I'm not quite sure how I'm going to resolve that. Maybe I'll just leave it sharp and lean into it. But it's a very good technique for something like an F-22 Raptor if you want to make like the sharp nose area where it connects with the bottom side. Um, yeah, it's just today's just not my day, like it's just live stream failing, the YouTube app crashing, and then I have thermal issues with my phone, and then the mechanism isn't working. So literally none of the things are working in my favor today. And I apologize if I sound a little bit irritated, but that's kind of the background right now. I mean, it's like 80 something, high 80s, and I don't have AC because the machine is broken due to a storm, and it's not a good time. It's not a very, very good time. Um, the ideal conditions would, probably make me a little bit more comfortable in solving these issues, in these technical issues, but we'll have to make do for now. Um, So I'm gonna continue surface modeling, and if it crashes, then so be it. There just won't be a stream this week recorded. Uh, it's just the nature of YouTube and how incompetent they are, and the thermal issues is it's not really my fault because I tried turning on the AC and it's not turning on, and so it's really the apartment manager is incompetent there. So literally none of this is my fault. The only thing that is my fault is the fact that these slats aren't working, which I'm a little bit disappointed in myself, because I spent a lot of time trying to get it to work, but it hasn't worked out. So it is what it is. Let's just continue on. Surface modeling. So it's just really a matter of, you know, kind of creating the parts, tailoring it, right? And then right here, we're just attaching some tape to cover up the seam. You don't want, when you're flying outside, you don't want like grass and dirt to come into your plane. So just kind of tape this up. This is the inner edge of that slat mechanism, right? So this leading edge slat ends right there, and then we're just taping that up to make sure dirt doesn't get in. Yeah, the leading edge slat situation is just really disappointing to me. I think it's just because of this new consolidated mechanism. Because on the YX10 M1, it worked perfectly fine. It's just a little bit, what's it called? A little bit complex, right? Because you have an entire separate mechanism just for that. And ideally, the slat and elevator or canard mechanism would be combined in function so that the bottom side would be free for something like a landing gear mechanism, which I think one of my viewers, Benjamin Rogers, he actually made a undercarriage mechanism, which is fascinating to look at and think about. But for this design, I'm not sure if I will add landing gear. That's why we're leaving the bottom as is for now. We're not adding the intake, right? It's just kind of still the Cheerio box bottom here. But we might, eventually get to that point. But for now, I think we're just gonna try and surface model the top. Again, this stream is likely going to be reduced in length because we were almost 2 hours into the other stream before it crashed. So again, I apologize, but it's just kind of what we have to deal with sometimes. Alright, so we're gonna tape this nose section here. Again, we're trying to approximate a curve with something that folds only in straight edges. So what we have to do is cut the piece of tape at certain locations to enable that approximation, right? So it's kind of like when you learn calculus in college or something like that. You're using that finite method to really capture the curve, and so far it looks good. We first introduced this technique on the Rapid prototype. That's the twin boom forward swept wing airplane that I did a while back. We're just reusing that here. And I mentioned this a little bit earlier in this stream, but it's really good for creating these very sharp kind of corners for the nose, which doesn't necessarily fit the F-16, but it's better than like a kind of wrapped nose, so to speak, like kind of in my earlier prototypes and builds. So here, I'm not exactly sure where to go. I think I'm gonna seal this up and then try and get a nose piece going here to cover this center section. And before I do that, I might want to actually trim some of this excess material off this bit right here. That looks good. And the slats are whack. They don't work, which is kind of part of where my frustrations are coming from. But it's just a mix of bad conditions today that is not making the stream really pleasant. I'm sorry about that, but it's part of the process, I guess. I keep on telling myself that, and for those of you who did see a part of my last stream, you'll know that that's the saying that I went with there. Okay, so I'm going to apply a piece of tape right here, really smooth that seam out. And then we're going to do it again with the other seam. So you'll notice this is a lot of lamination, a lot of tape, but it gets you a smooth surface, right? You don't want, when I first started out making these planes, it was like it was 2D and not very curvy and, you know, airplane like. But, you know, to add that realism, you really do need to take the time to surface model and try and capture some of these shapes. It's not going to be perfect, of course, right? We're not like we're not doing scale modeling, which is a whole nother beast in and of itself. Here we are just trying to make something that actually flies, right? Has some moving parts and looks relatively realistic. So that's kind of the niche that we're going for here. So we're gonna have to cover this nose part. And I'm not sure exactly how to proceed here, but we'll try our best. There is a bubble canopy that I might want to incorporate, but we'll have to see where we go with that. I feel like for today, I'll just finish the top side of this plane completely and then leave the bottom side open for progress next time. Because I still have to decide whether or not I want to do a set of landing gear on a mechanism here for the bottom. I'm leaning towards no, but who knows, right? Like, maybe I'll be inspired and have enough motivation to power through that, but maybe not. So, right, so this slat is very finicky, but seems to be okay for the time being. So yeah, we finished the top by creating a nose section here without the canopy. We do need to figure out what exactly we're gonna do for the canopy, which I have no idea. Like, it's completely experimental at this point. The vertical tail might be a thing that we can work on, although it's a complex structure on the real thing, right? It's like there's a bit here that comes out, and it's like very muscly looking if you look at the real life aircraft, and then it kind of transitions into that vertical tail, which I don't know, I might try capturing that in the design here, but for now, let's just work on the nose. Again, it's probably going to be a shorter stream. So, let's take a look here. Usually I also prototype with normal printer paper. It's just a cheaper material to work with, right? Because you're not using heavy duty structural part paper. Really treat paper as like sheet metal, really. That's kind of how I think about it. So just trying to draw something that'll cover this up. So let's see what happens here. Alright, so it's very rough geometry, but it should demonstrate what I'm trying to do. Right, this is only half of the thing. Right, it's a little bit rough around the edges. this looks decent. Might add a little bit on both sides to, I don't know, give it some thickness, but let's see. Do this. So might need a temporary piece of tape just to secure this in place. All right, let's try this again. Okay, flip it over, fold this piece in. Okay, it's going to be similar to what we had before. Okay, something like that. And try to also get that down there. Kind of where it intersects here. You can kind of see it through the paper. That's the nice thing about printer paper, is that you can work like that. Roughly this shape, but really doesn't matter too much since we're doing a prototyping. So I was off a little bit on this geometry. It's about there, from the tip to that point. So it's all about approximating shapes, carving away what you don't need. So get to a place where you do want to be. instead of doing that, I feel like I might want to make this panel piece like that. Okay, so for the next piece, I'm trying to duplicate this shape. What's the middle here? And then kind of just so that's a starting point. Working relatively fast because I'm running out of patience. But I'll see how that affects the quality. Something like that. And just need a little tape here. Or not. Okay, I guess it doesn't have to cover the entire nose, so we could thin this down a little bit. Something like that. That like covers the nose a bit. Need slightly more tape here. Test out the shape. This is something like that. where it starts to bend down. You can make cuts. That's not gonna work. I don't know what I'm doing. Alright. Let's see. Just taking a random piece of scrap right now. See how things work out. Let's mount the other one. Maybe better. No, it's just a very difficult geometry to get to work here. Not sure how this is. Alright, yeah. I have no idea. I have no idea what I'm doing, and we are not getting anywhere. So essentially, we want to cover up this bit, build the nozzle, build the tail section, and then build the undercarriage, which is a little bit troublesome right now. But we will see how far we get. But to be honest, you know, I've already been streaming for over 2 hours, so I'm feeling a little bit exhausted, especially without AC, without, you know, proper technology and everything. But I think we got pretty far. We surface paneled the aft fuselage and the mid and forward fuselage. We just need to cover the nose and then build a bubble canopy, build a tail, and we should be done with the top. And then after that, we will have to worry about the bottom side here, whether or not we want to incorporate a landing gear mechanism. But I doubt that we will, but, you know, we should still keep an open mind there. I'm just gonna finish off this wingtip here and then call it a day, since I am quite exhausted. All right, let's see. That looks decent. Yeah. So we made a lot of progress today. A lot of you know, the 2 top panels here, surface modeling, and a little bit of tuning for the slat mechanism, which unfortunately doesn't work too well, but we'll have to make do with what we have. So yeah, sorry again for the short live stream. I had a 2-hour one before this that was focused on some of the, you know, build techniques here, but that's lost because of YouTube's incompetent app. So it is what it is. Probably gonna only do 30 or so minutes today. That's gonna be recorded, but yeah, next time we'll just cover up the nose and then build the tail and go from there. You know, also build the canopy. Yeah, but I feel like next time it's probably mostly gonna be that. We're not gonna worry about the bottom until like probably a month or 4 weeks into the future, if we want to do this nicely. So yeah, that's pretty much it for today. Thanks for watching. Stay safe and keep on working on your own projects. If you have any questions, please leave them in the chat below or the comment section below, and I'll catch you guys next time.